Alright boys, welcome to day 22. Doing this live. This time only on Twitch. But today is a very important topic. I'm going to be breaking down everything I know about CVR. So how to optimize your CVR conversion rate, but also how to just skyrocket it. Okay, just to make sure how to make the most out of every visitor to your website. And this took me a while to understand, especially when I blew up on Instagram. I got like over 200 million views, and we constantly get over 10 to 20 million views per month. So it took a lot of work to understand how to make the most out of it, although there's a good chunk of it going to unwanted countries in terms of leads. So primarily I want to rely on US and EU markets, but it's fine. I was surprised later along the line that even the markets which I thought would not, never convert, basically did convert. So it opened up my perspective a lot about local marketing, or literally just organic marketing in general. So that's why a lot of people, they get too distracted by the fact that people keep telling them go to you, make sure that you market to the US. Sure, marketing to the US is the best. However, it doesn't hurt if you have, for example, two phones and then you test one of them to see how it's going to perform, and then the other one is, specialized for US or other regions. So today is all about CVR, how to optimize it, and we're gonna start off by speaking about the website. So I don't think I've spoken much about websites. Well, I've given you, a brief sort of take about which theme to go for, but I didn't give you the real sauce about it. So here you're gonna have a bunch of lessons which I've learned based off my personal stories, which made me convert more. And I sell high ticket products, so CVR, especially for organic content, where it's like cold outreach, is, you're gonna expect sometimes for it to be low. So I've spoken with a lot of people making six figures with high ticket products, and they've had as low as 0.2% CVR. This is like monthly, and with this low CVR, they made over 100K is like total, but they're making like 20K plus per month, and that's quite impressive for such a low CVR. So don't get deceived with all the flashy numbers you see online, like the 4% CVR and stuff. I think the only way you could get such a high CVR, like double digit, is impossible to get, first of all, especially when you're getting a large load of traffic. But let's say like 1%, 2%, 3%, up to like 8%, which is crazy, I know. Let's say 1 to 5% is, by the way, perfect. It's like the dream. So for you to achieve that, one, you need a good website, okay? So I wanna just clear it up for you guys. You don't need to invest right off the bat. So if you're just starting out and your product is good, okay, and then your accounts are set up. So another factor is account. So if the account is set up properly, so it's gonna bring you good outreach. So for example, it's to the US. If this is checked, then the website, as long as it's clean enough, simple enough for people to check out. And by the way, you wanna make sure that there's as minimal steps or friction between the customers landing to the page and purchasing the product, okay? The less steps or friction there is between the landing page and the checkout page, the better your CVR is going to be. So the theme, you don't need to invest a lot on the theme. I've proven to myself as well that even free themes can make you up to like 20K plus. I literally did not switch to Shrine until I made at least like 20 or 30K. So the website, you don't really need to do it, invest much into it, but I mean, it's only 150 if you want to go for like the paid ones. they can go up to like 350. So up to you to decide, but I see a lot of people who never made a penny spending a lot of money because they think they need to spend for them to make money. I don't think that's the case. You just need to order good products, practice, learn how to film content, how to go viral, learn the concepts, the formats, go viral, and then know how to monetize the attention, which we're talking about here, the CVR, and that's how you make money. So you don't really need to spend a lot. So that was the first take about the website. The second take I want to talk about regarding the website is, let's break down. I want to try to be as in-depth this time regarding my points. So the website, what do you want to look for in terms of like a high converting website? So what to improve or what to optimize. So one's gonna be, I'm gonna speak in terms of importance. Okay, we're gonna start off with the most important one, which is offers. Okay, offers are the most important. Like, this is something which is too basic, so it will just get over like your head. You would hear it from here and there, but you wouldn't actually put energy into it. You wouldn't think about it enough. But actually, offers are the determining factors to whether you're gonna make, you know, a 0.01% CVR or a 2% CVR. Literally, when I fixed my offers, my CVR skyrocketed, my AOV skyrocketed, everything. So offers, let me even give you more sauce about it. What do I mean by offers? You want to increase the AOV. That's your primary objective. So you need bundles. Okay? So trust me, for the longest time, I had good offers, which means I just had a free gift. So I think it's called BOGO or something. Buy one, get one, right? So this is actually not enough. Keep this in mind. This is the most typical way of providing offers, is to give customers a free gift on their purchase. And that's what I've done for the longest time, because I thought it's a high ticket. Why would someone buy like multiple products? Little did I know that people are actually looking to buy 4 of it. So you'd be surprised. So most people would start with the BOGO, which is buy one, get one. Instead, you want to go for the bundles, which includes the free gifts. That's my best advice, guys, okay? If you are struggling with average order value and you're struggling with the CVR, so this is for conversion rate plus average order value. I'm trying to make it as simple for anyone to understand, whether you're from the stream or from YouTube. So how to optimize CVR and AOV. This is what you need. So we're gonna highlight this. Once you have multiple break, I think they call it break, so you can have like 2-piece, 4-piece, whatever, and then it would include the free gifts. So you would unlock new gifts for every tier. That way you're gonna optimize, or you're just gonna promote people to purchase the better deal. So one way is to even include free shipping. A lot of people do this, especially with low ticket products. They would say free shipping over 50 USD or 60 USD, and let's say the product costs 30. So that way your AOV is literally gonna be over 50. Most people will buy the free shipping package. So that's one very good way. Next point is, I don't know if you would have guessed this, but I'm talking in terms of like importance, okay? First, what's the offers? Second is the AI. What do I mean by this? Images and videos or GIFs. Now, this is more advanced, and in fact, I don't see many people doing this. I do this. So if you can optimize this from now, then you could shortcut not just the time, but also the amount of, you would increase your CVR in short term, in short words, okay? So this is to appear like a brand, plus increase the CVR. And it just takes less time for you to do this over, opening Canva or any of the traditional tools. I can't believe that I wasted tens of hours last year because AI was not as good as now. Last year, I've spent a lot of time to Photoshop a few product images. AI was nowhere near as good as now. Now you could literally use free AIs, which I've spoken about in my AI bootcamp. You could check it out. I've literally given you the one you should use. And that one, you could use it for literally photoshopping. So you could plug in the product you want and describe where you want it to be placed. It will look hyper realistic. So use AI. It's going to increase your CVR because it's going to set you away from your competitors. You're going to look more brandable. And thirdly, keep it simple. I'll explain though. So I don't want you to be to mix up between the word being simple and not looking professional. So I see a lot of stores where it's literally like this. So that's a page. Let's say this is the landing page, which is oftentimes just a collection. If you're watching this and you have this sort of store, improve it. So they would have here the header, and then collections. Literally, they wouldn't like change this. They would keep it as collections, and then here you would see like 1, 2, 3, 4. This considering they have 4, maybe 6. That's it. And here's the footer. That's pretty much like their landing page. So customers can look at the 6 products, click on one, and then go to the product page. The problem is you could literally improve this landing page. It looks way too minimalistic. Like I say simple in terms of like the copywriting depends on the product, okay? Copywriting in terms of like you want to make sure that whatever language you use is understandable by anyone, okay? And this applies to myself. My product, I have a lot of international customers, so I try to avoid I go for like high perceived value sort of branding, but at the same time I try to use simplicity. I mean, it's known luxury goes along with simplicity in general, so do that. So maybe increase, like they can scroll down, so even though they didn't click on the product yet, maybe add some reviews down here. Or because reviews is one thing which I want to talk about. It's one of the highest, basically social proof, increases your CVR by a ton. So just add a few more things before they can go to the footer so that it would appear more like a brand, and to just make them click on the like why would they click on the product, okay, if they're not convinced from the first impression, first sight? So yeah, I think just adding a review down here would actually solve this problem. So the products and then some reviews, and then you could put like an FAQ. That's pretty much like what you need instead of the basic one. So go for simplicity, but it needs to be good enough to stand out, okay? So add an extra edge to your store. Next. Next point are the reviews, as I've mentioned earlier. So reviews, again, it really can take you from no sales to a lot of sales. One way you could do is, I don't know about your theme, but I've noticed one of my older themes, it had like a built-in review widget, which is like not focused on the pictures. So the pictures were so tiny. The moment I changed it to the new theme, like newer themes, basically, my CVR increased. So one of the reasons was because of the reviews being so clear for customers to see. And in fact, I've had some emails of people saying like, I want to see more of the product. So I want more images, more reviews. So the old theme had like a cap of 7 reviews. So add as many social proof as possible, really important. And just make it look like this is the talk of the people, everyone's buying this is a trend. This takes us to the next point, which is FOMO. So you don't want to necessarily go for, okay, this is on low stock, obviously it's the best, but again, just what I've mentioned a few seconds earlier, you want to make it seem like everyone has it, but you don't. That's a different way of putting this FOMO, which is fear of missing out. So think about it. Make it look like everyone has this product, everyone's benefiting from this product, it's changing their lives, except for you. You're the one who doesn't have it. So it's like a twist to the traditional way of making this feeling of FOMO. So low stock is a typical one. This is like the beginner plus the one I just mentioned. So this is like, I'm gonna just call it the new. So this is advanced, okay? And how do you do this? You add realistic overview of how the customers are okay? You want to make it easy for the viewer to see how or imagine how they would look or how they would feel when they have the product by adding maybe reviews or even pictures or even videos of, for example, how to apply the product, how to use it. That way they're gonna have like an idea of how they would apply the product. I'm not gonna talk about problem-solving products, but this applies to problem-solving products as well, which are more towards the paid ads. Okay, so you see, that was just the website. I'm trying to go as in-depth as possible, and so far we're still in the website because these are like the most important ones, especially after you start going viral. And trust me, the more I network, the more I talk with people in the space, I realize it's not just me who went so viral and had very minimal sales, especially last year when I literally generated like over 60, 70 mil, maybe up to 100 before I found my first winner. So yeah, you could expect getting a lot of views and not making sales is part of the game. Obviously, people who are trying to sell you something, they're gonna show you or make it seem like you're gonna instantly print. It's not. So offers, AI images, you wanna keep it simple. So I'm gonna break down this point further here, which is about the checkout. Checkout is really important. So preferably skip cart. This is also really important. It is basically the same concept of reducing the friction. So the less steps, the better. So a lot of times, like oftentimes I would have people messaging me, like they would have no idea about browsing online or shopping online, but they're purely doing this because they want to gift somebody. So whether it's their child, their partner, whatever. So you need to make it as simple as possible. And one way is, by the way, to do this is to answer DMs. So for example, your Instagram, I've noticed it converts on average way higher than the typical viewer because they would reach out to you, you would send them the direct link to the product, and they just have to click add to cart, they go to checkout, and then they purchase. They don't have to go to the landing page, look for the product, click on the product, all this sort of things. So instead of doing these 3 steps, this is a funnel, by the way, if you're new here. That's basically a funnel. This is a 3-step funnel. So the landing page is a collection, then you funnel them down to the product page and then to the checkout, and then they have it. So they would actually skip the first step by DMing you and then you sending them the product page, and they just have to click on add to cart and then they go to the checkout. And if you didn't have skip cart, then they would literally have another page here, which is for the cart before they go to the checkout. So now you can see how powerful it is to just skip the cart, which is another step here, which you are just removing. So yeah, really important. Hopefully I didn't miss anything here. So I think these are the most important ones by far. So these are just for the website, okay? And clearly, website, like oftentimes when I first started, people would say, just make a website which works, so which makes people be able to check out, and then you're good to go. False, especially for brandable products. You want to stand out, you want to make it look like you're a brand. What do I mean by a brand? Again, it's high perceived value. So whatever product you're selling, you want to make it look like this is better than a copy of it, which can be found on Amazon. That way, by the way, you would completely destroy this controversy where people ask, why buy from me? Why not from Amazon? Or why not from, the next buy store? So the answer is because of how you perceive yourself, how you make people look at your brand, basically, which is going to make you stand out. So we're done with the first point. Second point, the account again. You want to make sure your reach is basically your work, all the way from creating content to editing to posting, is going to be going to the right audience. So you don't want to put all this effort and then the algorithm is sabotaging you and not getting you the right leads. So instead, you can scale this up by having multiple phones, for example. Obviously, you want to post on every platform. So yeah, these are some ways to optimize the account. I've made an entire bootcamp day for making sure that your content is to the US. So highly recommend you watch it. So that was the second point. Third point, to increase your CVR, conversion rate. Let's take a quick break. If there's any questions in the chat, let me know. All right, third point is the content. And even, I'm gonna link it to the fourth point in a second. Really important. One of the biggest lessons I learned during the last year is, at one point I had literally 110 million views in 1 month on Instagram. Crazy number, I know. But one thing I've learned is, although this converted surprisingly well, it didn't convert like crazy, like 50K, but it did convert well, okay? I learned that if I were to change the format to bring in a different sort of audience, preferably older demography, is that what they call it? So older audience. Yeah, if you get older audience, for example, and your format is, which is a fourth point, your format is curated, is created, engineered to bring in customers. So it has clear call to action. It clearly makes it clear that you are the seller. Then your CVR is going to be way higher. So combining high quality content, okay, with precise formats. Precise meaning it's literally created to make sure customers understand that you're selling the product, so you've hooked their attention, plus you made it clear that you're selling the product. That means they're more likely to purchase or at least check your website. So combining point 3 and 4 will make you more likely convert. So to give you a quick perspective, 10 million views right now, okay, with my current content and my current format, 10 million views is equivalent to 110 million views. As crazy as it sounds, this is the current state of my story. So, I mean, you could even argue it's equivalent to 200 million views of the previous content. So, this is one of the biggest lessons, which is focus on. By the way, format means, for the new ones, format is the concept of the video. So don't go for childish sort of ways of marketing. So you need to make sure that the content is more likely to be liked by everyone. So the whoever is watching your content, you need to hook their attention, and then show them the value of the product, and then finally call to action. Show them that you're the seller with a simple link in bio, or in the comment section as well. I'm gonna link this actually to the next point, which is the controversy. So controversy, that's a problem. This is the biggest lie which everyone has been told, unfortunately. Everyone has been saying for the past, I don't know how long, that controversy is the best way to print, so to go viral and to just generally run your pump and dump. The problem with controversy is that, true, it makes you go viral, extremely viral, like big time, but the CVR is really low. So I would argue controversy should only be used for new pages, preferably to go viral, get a foundation of followers, and then eventually, once you are standing out, you've built a foundation, you've gotten some sales, at that moment, switch up your entire content, try to make it more professional, more brandable, and this way you might sacrifice a few views, okay? But your CVR is gonna go up. So this is really important. And actually this is, I think 9 out of 10 times when people tell you like they got 100 million views or 10 million views, whatever, and they didn't convert, is because of controversy. So in my opinion, use controversy as a small creator, build a big page, and then switch up your format to going for higher quality, engineered content to convert, and that way you're gonna make more. So another way of controversy, by the way, so there's a lot of ways to do controversial content. One of the ways is this is the YouTube method, which I don't think many people do anymore, but it's basically to say, if you like, you get this, if you comment, you get this, and then if you do all of the above, you get that. This sort of content have gotten people, if you know, by the way, this has gotten people 1 million subs on YouTube. Personally, I've not tried it, but although they've gotten so many subs, I think from what I've heard is YouTube is not providing them with the play button because they've abused this sort of format. It's using controversy because it's saying you're gonna get that, but you're not gonna get anything. So yeah, it's one of the ways. Another way is to say, like, if we get 10,000 comments, we're gonna give away, or if we get 10,000 likes or comments, we're gonna name our child X. Again, this is an advanced day of the bootcamp, so I'd expect you to know what I'm talking about here. So the blankets, right? He's holding the blanket, and yeah, that's it. The copywriting that he uses. That way, gets a lot of comments for the controversy, but I'm not sure if it converts. Most likely not. But I would say it's actually one of the top ways of being controversial because it's harmless. I think that's one of the only ways of like marketing in a controversial way, which is actually harmless, because you're just saying, I will name my child whatever, based off the anime niche or whatever. So yeah, I think people would actually support based off that. So yeah, if you guys have tried that, let me know in the comments. I've never tried that, but that's my take on it. So we've broken down some of the most important elements here. By far, the website is one of the most important, but for you to reach the website, okay, for the website to even matter, you need to first make sure that these two are checked. The content and the format needs to be on point. Obviously the account as well, but actually I've proven that the account does not matter much. You could turn a bad thing to a positive thing. So if you can't reach the US market, you can still test your region, see how it converts. Maybe you're marketing to an untapped market. So these are some of the best ways to increase your CVR. It's been 35 minutes. This was a bit longer than I intended to, but I hope this was as in-depth as possible for you guys to understand. Let me see if there's any last takes I could give and if there's any questions. Yeah. These are the most important ones. But the second point is like one of the most. So make sure the foundation is right. If I were to add one last point, is the payment processor. So make sure you have localized currency. Really important. And preferably the checkout page needs to be optimized. So add your logo on the checkout page and maybe change the theme color of the checkout page to match your store. The banner is really important. These things like are very minimalistic, but they actually do convert. You could even add a table to your shipping for your shipping on the checkout page. That one also increases your CVR. Haven't seen a lot of people do it, but it's actually really important. So yeah, that's it for day 22. Hopefully this was a mindful day for you guys to visualize the importance of increasing your CVR, and maybe this will explain why you're not getting as many sales as you should. So yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you on day 23. Peace out, boys.